So to begin the protection demonstration today, we start from the Intrinsic Gateway homepage, which I've already logged into, which you should be able to see in front of you. I have logged in using a training login system, as you can see at the top here, but this would usually display your own name here. And what we've done for the purpose of the webinar is we've created a test case on the system, and I'll be able to run through this with you, and then we can take any questions at the end. So to begin with, we're going to search for the client that we've already created. So we just need to click on Workbench and View Existing Sales Processes. And it'll just take a couple of moments to load, and it will take us through to the Workbench sort of landing page here to allow us to search for a client. Okay, so as it's a training system, we do have a lot of client records down the list here. I mean, usually you could, open the case from here, but as we've got a large amount of clients, I'm simply going to search for the client directly, as I know the client's surname. And we've named the client Mr. Protection Demo for the demonstration purposes today. So as I'm happy that this is a client we're going to use, I'm just going to click on View Cases. And we're going to open the case that we've already created on the system for Mr. Protection Demo. Just to explain a couple bits of information around these actions we have here. If we click on Open, that will open our case for us to allow us to view the full case. If we click on Review, that would simply open a read-only version of the sales process and the fact find. If we were to click on Close, that would actually close the case completely and mark it as aborted, which effectively cancels the case. If we clicked on Clone, that would clone a duplicate protection sales process. And if we clicked on Check In, that would check in the case to allow it to sort of backed up to the central service here at the Intrinsic head office. Okay, what we're going to select today is Open. And just to confirm how you would access a new protection case if you were creating a brand new one, from the gateway you would click on Workbench, Start New Sales Process, and then down to Protection. Okay, but as we're opening a case that we've already begun, I'm just going to open this case that's on the system already. Okay, so we're brought through to the initial personal details page here. As we can see, some of the information is greyed out at the moment. The reason for that is because the case has locked itself following from the last time we opened the case. So all I'm going to click here at the top is the Unlock button, which is highlighted in white. And this will open the case up for us to allow us to make any amendments or changes. And once we're happy with the note, we can just click on Return at the bottom. And as you can see now, all of the information is available to be changed. Okay. So initially this is the basic client details page, the sort of basics of the fact find. You simply need to enter in the client's details relating to their name, date of birth, gender. For this particular client, we're going to say that he's a young single male who's 29 years old and he's a non-smoker. So we've entered in the relevant details here. Moving down, we're going to say the client is actually employed as a mortgage advisor and he's expected to retire at the age of 65. As he's single, he lives on his own, he's unmarried, he doesn't yet have any dependents. So we've marked dependents as no. and we've popped in his job title details there and his home address. Just for the demonstration purposes, we put as a head office address. And just to give you a bit of background on this particular client, this client has owned his own house for the last 2 years. He currently has no protection, although he does have death in service which he receives from his employer. As we mentioned earlier on, he works as a mortgage advisor for Britannia. And we've just popped in his contact details at the bottom, and once all the mandatory information, which is highlighted with an asterisk, is complete, we can click on the fact find button at the bottom. Now we're then presented with the scope wheel or the agenda page, and for this particular client we're going to say that he has asked us to review all areas of his protection needs. So he's asked us to review everything that he currently has. So we've just simply ticked on the full review button here, which has highlighted everything with a tick and highlighted in green. If you did want to discount any of these areas, you could simply click on the box and it would unmark that field for you. Okay. So we're going to leave this as full review for the time being, and just click on the next button at the bottom right hand corner. So this pulls us through to the client's existing arrangements. So again, this particular client, he's got his mortgage, which he's had for 2 years, but he currently has no protection other than the death in service that he would receive from his employer. We're going to say that he's got 23 years left on the particular mortgage that he's taken out. So what we've done is we've popped in his death in service under the life protection policies. So to do this, all you would do is click on Add More in the relevant fields that you wanted to add into. And if I just open this out, you can have a look at the information that's been entered in for this particular death in service plan. So the owner is the client, who is Mr. Protection Demo. It's the policy type is death in service, and the provider is Britannia, that's who he's employed by. We don't have the policy number at the moment, but the remaining term on that is 36 years, and we have the sum assured as 100,000 with a 0 critical illness benefit. We've got the purpose as a lifestyle protection, and we've just popped the premium as £1 annually, although he doesn't actually pay any amount for that. The reason that we pop that in is just to bypass the system on this particular case. Okay, and if you wanted to delete that for any reason, you could simply click on the red minus icon here. If you wanted to create another policy, you wanted to duplicate that row, you could click on the plus icon at the bottom, just below that. Okay, but as this particular client's just got the one existing arrangement under lifestyle, we're just going to collapse that row and move further down. So as we've identified, the client doesn't have any critical illness, any income protection or mortgage protection, but he does currently have buildings and contents. So just pop that information at the bottom of the page here under the buildings and contents policies section. So again, just to open up this section to see what we've entered in there, we just popped in his buildings and contents policy to cover his main residence, his home that he purchased 2 years ago, the cover amount, the contents amount, and also the premium. Okay. So once we're happy all of the information regarding the client's existing arrangements has been captured on this page, we can then click on Next at the bottom. And this is just asking us to confirm now the client's monthly financial income. Okay, so we popped the client's full net income at the top, which is at the moment is £1,500 per month. And then we've also detailed the expenditure broken down to mortgage and home, lifestyle, travel, borrowing and debts, day-to-day expenses, and then at the bottom it totals the total monthly expenditure. If you do make any changes to any of these, it will update the total monthly expenditure at the bottom for you automatically. Okay, just going to change that back to £50 and update the total monthly expenditure at the bottom. And this has also calculated the spendable income for the client as well for you at the bottom. And once all the information has been input there, we can click on Next. And it's now brought us through to the section to identify the client's needs. So following on from the full review that we've carried out for this client, the client's then identified that he needs he has two particular need areas. He's looking for £100,000 life and critical illness on a decreasing basis for the remaining 23 years of his mortgage, and he also would like £50,000 of level term life and critical illness for 36 years so that he's covered into his retirement. Okay, so as the client's got two particular need areas, we've popped these into the two different sections here. So we've got his critical illness cover here, which is his level term. And all we simply did was click on Add More to add in this particular need area and enter the relevant information. So we've got the owner as the client himself, Mr. Protection Demo. His lifestyle need area is his critical illness. We would like level term assurance and a lump sum. Now the value required for this is £50,000 and the term will be 36 years. As he's a single man with no dependents and he does own the property himself, he is looking at affordability when he's looking at the particular recommendation. So we've popped in yes as affordability as a key factor. Okay, so once we've entered in this information, we can just minimise that row back up. And just moving down to the mortgage and debt needs. So he's looking for his decreasing term assurance to cover the cost of his mortgage. So we've got the value required as £100,000 to cover, again, Mr. Protection Demo. That will be repayments on critical illness and decreasing term assurance. Popped in the term as 23 years, which is the remaining term of his mortgage, and again the affordability key factor marked as yes. And again we can just minimise that, and as we've identified the two key areas, the two client needs, we can then click on Next at the bottom. Okay, and we're now brought through to the design a solution section of the sales process. This is where you would jump out of the sales process and obtain your quotes, either from the exchange live quote, or if you're a restricted advisor, you would use the protection panel. As we've already obtained this information and we've already entered this into the system, we would simply click on Add More to add the quote details into the case. So the details or the quote details that we've already added, we have here our level term assurance provided by Aviva, and you simply enter in any information that's highlighted with an asterisk as mandatory. Including all of the details that you will have obtained from the quotes. And you then need to confirm the need area that has been addressed right at the bottom of the section here. Pop in the commission fee information, and once you're happy that everything has been input, you can minimise or collapse that row again. And just moving on to the next need area is decreasing term. Again, you would simply hit Add More and you'd be presented with a blank form to enter in all of this information. So we've just popped in the information regarding his decreasing term policy and recommendation. Okay, Again, you just confirm the need area that it's addressed at the bottom and the commission or fee that you'll be taking from that. And once you're happy that all the mandatory fields are completed, again you can just collapse the row, and we then have our two recommendation solutions captured within the sales process here. If you do have any further information to add, you would just add that into the relevant sections as necessary, but as we've addressed the client's two need areas, we can now click on demands and needs. Okay, and this will then launch the report writer for you automatically. And it's very similar to the financial planning suitability letter. You simply open up the document, and the way that we always recommend that you work your way through this is by first of all going through the items that are highlighted in bold on the right hand side here. So anything with that sort of paper icon that's also highlighted in bold, you simply click on the wording, and you'll then be presented with either one or two or a number of different options available just below that in the paragraph list. So for personalised paragraph, if we click on personalised, you're then given the option to pop in some details. And then we can just click on the tick to enter that information in there. And once you've completed that field, you'll see that it's now it's no longer highlighted in bold here. So we simply move on to the next option, which, as we can see, is the life cover amount reason. We've got a variety of different options. So we're going to say for this particular client, the reason was the budget. And again, you're asked to enter in some information manually. So you simply work your way through everything that's highlighted in bold on the right hand side here. And once they are all complete, we then also ask that you go through and just check that there's nothing still highlighted in red on this side. So as we can see, for example, the date of the fact find, that has got to be entered in manually. And again, you just click on the green tick to enter that information in there. So again, you would simply work your way through until everything has been either unhighlighted in bold here, and nothing is remaining in red in the actual document preview itself. A way to check as well if everything is complete is if you click on the small sort of print preview icon in the top left hand corner here, just beside the print button. If you click on this now, you'll see that you will receive a draft copy written across the top of the page. Okay, so that's the way to establish whether the letter's been complete or not. Once it has been completed, you'll no longer receive the draft copy across the top. So just to close out of this, another thing to note is the export to Word button here. If you do ever want to export the document to a Word document, maybe to make any amendments yourself, if you want to add in any sort of wording yourself in addition to the standard text, you can click on Export to Word. It'll take it through to a Word document, and you can edit or amend it in any way you like. Again, if you would like to change the font, for example, or any of the wording, you can do that in Word. Just note please, if you do export it to Word, you will need to make sure you click on Save As and save the document into your sort of local client files, wherever you save the client documents, and you'll need to upload the document or the demand needs letter manually to the system, which we'll show you how to do in a couple of moments. Okay, so if you do complete it in Report Writer, it will automatically save the document for you in Office Web. So all we need to do once complete is click on the Close button at the top, and this will pull us back through to the end of the sales process, in Workbench. So all we need to do is finish off by entering in the disclosure information. So the SCDD will pop in as version 4. The date will pop in as today's date, which is the 8th of May. And the fact find will put in as today's date as well, just for ease. The advice provided was face-to-face, and the ID verification will say that we completed a URU check, which is classed as electronic ID. And just moving down, just a quick disclaimer there just to confirm which documents actually need to be uploaded to the case in Officeweb. And although you wouldn't have uploaded the documents yet, if you just click on the tick button, and you've got two options here. You can either click on Upload Documents, which will take you through to Officeweb, but it will leave the case as current, so it will not mark the case as completed. Or if you do actually click on Close and Set Commission, that will check the case in and also mark it on Workbench as completed. Okay, so we're going to click on Close and Set Commission. And as you can see in Workbench there, I'll just get back a section. As you can see in Workbench, you're then given a message that says the sales process has been closed and no longer available for changes. Okay, so that's absolutely fine. So we're just going to click onto the second browser here, which is Officeweb, and it's pulled us through to the quotes list. Okay, so you can see all of the quotes that we obtained whilst we were doing our research, and you can see the two cases that we're actually applying for at the top there, which is the Aviva Mortgage Protection and the Aviva Term Assurance. So as you can see, applied for is marked as yes for these two policies, but the remuneration set at the moment is marked as no. So all we need to do before we set the remuneration is first of all upload any documents to the case. So we'd simply click on the Documents tab just on the left hand side here. And as you can see, it's created a sales process folder for us under the client's name with today's date alongside that. And you can see the demands and needs letter has been pulled through automatically. That's a copy that we were completing in the report writer. But if you had, for example, exported that document to a Word document, and you wanted to upload it manually, what we recommend you do is click on the automatically saved demands and needs letter and click delete, and then you would add the new amended file by clicking on add at the bottom. Okay, and you would simply browse and find the file that you need, and then you click on upload at the bottom. Okay, you can upload zip files to Officeweb. It doesn't necessarily have to be the individual files. So you can upload a zip file, and you can also upload Word documents, PowerPoint presentations, Excel spreadsheets, any file format you like. It doesn't necessarily have to be a PDF document. Okay, so you can upload those all at the same time. You click on upload at the bottom, and then you'll be presented with a status bar which shows you exactly how far along the upload is. Normally only takes a couple of minutes. It's a fairly quick system. It doesn't take very long to upload documents. Okay, as it's a test case, we will not upload anything today. We'll just leave this as it is for the time being. Okay, so I'm just going to click cancel for now. And we're going to go back to the quotes list now and set our remuneration. Okay, so first of all, we'll do our mortgage protection, the top quote. So I'm just going to click on that till it's highlighted in red, and then move down to the bottom and click on set remuneration at the bottom. So you simply click on the product area, and it's also pulled through all the information from Workbench, so what you've already entered into the system. It's pulled through our premium from the quote details we entered. It's pulled through the term and also the frequency. And the status will always default to pipeline. And it's also got the client's name in here. Okay. it was a joint client and you created a joint workbench sales process and you did want to add a second client here, you would simply click on this option. However, because you've just added a single client, you don't have the option to do that on this case. So you simply move through the tabs along the top and filling anything in that's highlighted in yellow as mandatory. In most cases you probably will not need to fill anything on this page, but if you are receiving a split on the commission or the fee along with another Positive Solutions or Intrinsic advisor, you would enter this information into this section here on the right hand side, or alternatively if the case has been introduced to you by an external introducer, you enter the information at the bottom right hand side here. Okay, as we're taking all the commission ourselves, we're going to leave this just as the advisor name here, which at the moment is the training system. So we can then move on to the compliance tab. Replacement contracts, for this one we'll select as no, as the client didn't already have this particular product type. And we're just going to pop in today's date as the document dates here. And although we haven't actually uploaded the documents, you would have done this by now, so we're just going to click on the ticks here, just so we can move on to the next page. And then we're going to click on remuneration at the top. Now we've already confirmed that we're taking commission for these protection policies. So we're going to say initial, and it's indemnified, and it's already pulled through the commission amount that we've entered. If you were receiving a fee from the client, perhaps as well as the commission, or you were receiving commission, say for example it was an investment policy and you were receiving a percentage of the fund value, you would enter that within the fees tab. But as we're only receiving commission for this particular case, we're just going to leave that within the remuneration section under the commission there. Okay, so we've got our commission information in, so we can hit save at the bottom. And as you can see, that mortgage protection policy there, the remuneration set is now changed to yes. So we're just going to do the same for the second quote for the term assurance. Again, just highlight it in red there and hit set remuneration at the bottom. Enter in any yellow information that's missing. And move through the tabs at the top. Click on the ticks to confirm the documents have been uploaded. And then within the remuneration tab, again we're just going to pop an initial and indemnified. And then just hit save at the bottom. And now as we can see, the remuneration has been set on both of those policies there. Okay, so that effectively is those two cases submitted. As soon as you set remuneration on the case, that effectively is the submit button. So that takes us to the end of the demonstration today. I hope you have all found that very useful.